Hey everybody, this is Homesteading with Barnyard Bees, and today's video is about cisterns, water containers, barrels, anywhere where you keep containers of water. And if you have a homestead, a farm, you more than likely have a few of these sitting around. Now, the problem with these sitting around is you end up getting a lot of mosquito larvae in these barrels. And the solution to that, let me show you. Let me pull this trap up here. If there's anything in here, I haven't baited it in a while, there may not be anything in it. Well, look, we got one teeny tiny bluegill. But if you're in a stream, a pond, anywhere, all you gotta do is throw a little bit of bread, just like this little tiny one right here. And what you do, let me show you. We'll walk down here to our drums, because like I said, in a homestead, you will most likely need cisterns of water. I grew up with some neighbors that had a farm, and they always had barrels sitting around with water in it, and that one's pretty dirty there. And now sometimes these barrels will not house fish, but most of the time when you come up on these barrels and look, they won't have algae, and they'll be crystal clear from top to bottom. They won't be any mosquito larvae, wiggle tails, anything like that. So you put fish in those, the next day those fish will be dead. And the reason being is because they've had chemicals in them at one time, and there's always trace chemicals in there that you'll never ever get rid of. And those fish's gills will not tolerate the smallest trace amount of chemicals. It will kill them, guaranteed. Now, some of these barrels that you see, like this right here, is pretty nasty looking as far as just looking at it, but really, it's really a healthy barrel of water, because it has algae inside that's growing, which tells us that the water is good. There's no chemicals in the barrel. Now, if you introduce fish, they will clean that up a little bit, and it'll be more clear. See how dirty that one is right there? I have just introduced some fish here not too long ago. They've not had a chance to establish and clear the water up. But let's show you another one down here. I'll put it on pause and I'll show you. Okay, I'm back. I had to go get a little bit of food because they didn't want to come to the top. So I threw a little bit of fish food in there just to get them to come up. And zoom in there where we can see them there a little bit, so I don't have to get too close. You get too close, it'll scare them. Hopefully that'll show up on camera. But well, what it is, we put these bluegill, baby bluegill that we catch in traps, and we'll put them in our barrels, drums, and they will keep that mosquito larvae cleaned out of there. They'll also work on that algae. You can see they're coming up pretty good. There's about 5 or 6 I'm hoping they show up on camera. They're not quite as shy as I thought they'd be. But if you have a problem with mosquito larvae getting in your drums, or a lot of algae, drop some of these baby bluegill in here, and they're very resilient as far as temperature changes, because this barrel right here is out in the full sun, and it'll get really hot in the daytime. It'll cool down at night, and they seem to do fine with it. Now, another option you can do if you don't have access to bluegill, baby bluegill, get you some goldfish. You can get some cheap comet goldfish at a pet store for like $4 for $1, something like that. They're like $1 a piece, very cheap. Get you a few of those in stock. I like the bluegill option better, because these here, come at the end of the year, when you're done with them, you can throw them back in your pond, or these things grow so fast, you may even be able to eat the things. This is the first year we've really tried bluegill. I've always done goldfish, and they've done very well. Now the barrel, and a lot of people say, well, what about fish poop getting in, because we use this one right here in particular to wash our hands with. Well, when you wash it from the top, all the fish poop's in the bottom, and I'm not too worried about it anyway, to be honest with you. It's not that big of a deal. And the water is cleaner actually with the fish and the fish poop in there than it would be without anything in there. And but this does really good. This is a good idea for your homestead, for farming. This is our new YouTube channel. We have a successful beekeeping channel called Barnyard Bees. We have 68,000 subscribers. And the reason I started this YouTube channel was there's a lot of times I like talking about farming stuff. And I want to try to primarily keep the other channel just for beekeeping. So I have a lot of ideas for farming, a lot of stuff I'd like to share with people. I've been farming, raising chickens all my life. I'm 51 years old, be 52 in October, and I've had chickens since I was 8 years old. And I've raised animals. I've always had animals, ducks, you name it. Pheasants, grouse, or not grouse, quail, turkeys, goats. I've had everything and have raised them for years, so I got a lot of information to share with people. If you would pass these videos along to anyone on homesteading and farming, especially people just getting started. We're here to help the new homesteader get started, and little ideas like this can really make a big difference. The reason it keeps them down, because not only the mosquitoes, they're going to find a place to lay. Well, when they lay here, fish eat them. That kind of ends their cycle, because if they had committed laying somewhere, of course they'd hatch and they'd reproduce more and more and more. So actually, the more of these you have set out, the better. If you look through here, you will not see any. And you don't have to feed them. These things do fine because there'll be plenty. Mosquitoes will constantly be laying eggs in there, and there's plenty for them to eat, plenty. You can feed them up a little bit if you want to feed them up. Also a little bit, and harvest them at the end of the year. See that bluegill right there is pretty good size. He's about 2 inches long. And they do fine. Now you could overstock them, I'm sure, and they wouldn't do as good, and they'd start dying off because of the oxygen. No, these don't need oxygenated. If you keep the number down to about 5 or 6, they'll do fine. You won't have to worry about aerating the water. This is not aerated at all. And none of the barrels are. If that was the case, it wouldn't be worth doing if you had to aerate them. But you can see I got them everywhere. I got probably eight or 9 water barrels sitting around. And you got to have something in there, because just a little bit of water will take up a lot of mosquitoes will lay eggs in it. So try that. Put them in there. Go fish if you can't find anything else. Bluegill preferably, because they're free, and of course you can get them right in your own pond or in a local stream. You'd be surprised where you can find them. I've not tried minnows. Minnows might work also. You could give it a try and see how they do. Just don't put a whole lot in there. But that's about it for today. I'll introducing, this is Lizzie, the bee dog. She's in all of my beekeeping videos. She's a pretty famous dog. Everybody comes over, all of our customers and students that come over for beekeeping, they all know Lizzie. She's about a 12-year-old yellow lab, and she follows me everywhere I go, and she follows me as I work the bee yard and the farm and feeding the chickens and everything. So if you would spread the videos along, we'd like to get these all out to the homesteader. Don't forget to click on the little bell, like, subscribe, and thanks for watching Homesteading with Barnyard Bees.